Hello YouTube, James here. Today, starting to build a 4-foot cage, and this is what we done. Went down to Lowe's, had them cut it on the panel saw because I don't have anything to cut this big of pieces. But for your bottom and top piece are going to be 24 inches by 48 inch. So that would be top and bottom the same size. Your back piece is going to be 48 by 16, and your two sides are going to be 23 inch by 16, and this is going to make all the sides right there. And then for the front is going to be made with 2 by 2. We're going to make this into a track right here on the radial arm saw, and a dado blade to make the groove for the acrylic. So making our own track also saves you money than buying it. So we'll show you the process on that, and got my lines marked because you want to pre-drill and put your screws in as you go, but pre-drill, that way you don't break the board. And I just use a scrap piece or the pieces themselves to mark how deep in that it's going to go. That way you could go right in the center and always make sure all your screws go right where they need to, none popping out. And along with screwing, going to come through, run a bead of liquid nail. Also helps strengthen the bond. So show you the process as we go. Okay, all the holes are drilled for the bottom up into the side. So now I'm going to run my bead of liquid nail right down the back, and not going to liquid nail down the sides yet. For going to get the back put on and have to screw into the sides, but have the bottom drilled in. That way I could liquid nail the back after drilling it and then set it in and screw the sides. And this is the best way to do it. Is your best joint for holding multiple cages in weight is, you see some people build the sides like that to where it sits on the side and the floor sits there. That's not really that strong when you're stacking. When you're stacking, you want to build on top of the bottom. That way the whole surface area holds the weight. And same thing with the top. The top's going to overlap on the top of the sides. It makes a way stronger base for when you're stacking. When you're stacking and them coming down on the side, the weight of the cages pushes on the side, so you don't want that, because then you're also having to hold the floor with the sides, where now doing it this way, the floor takes all the weight and you're not trying to secure the floor to the sides. And for when you're drilling on the outside, that way you always get a nice center when drilling, since the sides come in from the back. I just use a scrap piece of the 3/4 melamine, make my mark. That way I can drill right in and it'll line up on the other side. That way you're not coming too close to an edge. So just a little trick of what I do to keep my drill mark centered. And I'm getting ready to liquid nail both sides, get them screwed in, and then we'll be working on the top. And the sides are on, and they're screwed and drilled, well, drilled and screwed from the bottom and then the back, which gives you very rigid, very strong. And now to set the top and screw or drill and then screw the top for getting it finished. So go through, I'll drill all my holes, pull it back off, run a bead of liquid nail, put it back on, and then run screws through it, and then there's pretty much your cage, except for doing the track, making the track, cutting the acrylic, and we're almost have a cage. They're very simple to make. Already it's only been probably about 30 minutes, if that, doing this. So it's quite easy to build your own cages. Alright, now the top is done. Liquid nail drilled and screwed in, as you can tell. Got a nice strong cage that's not going nowhere. And now we'll be on to making the front 2x2 they're going to cut down, and then dado for the track going to make for the cage. So now we're going to be on to that. Alright, and now got the measurement for how long my rails need to be. Going to quickly cut it on the radial arm saw. And that is the cut. And then we'll get on to dadoing the grooves for the track. And now for dadoing the track for the plexiglass sit-in, I got some guides drilled into my table. That way when I push the 2x2 through, it'll follow the guides, keep it nice and tight to the fence, and work my way through. So here it goes.
And that's how not to do that.
Right? Test 2. And track is done. A little chewed up on the sides. I didn't have a second hand to help me hold, but all in all, not too bad. And as you can see, right here, the sheets of acrylic are going to fit in and slide nice and freely in the track. And this is the bottom track. Now just got to make a deeper groove for the top track, and we're almost done. All right, and now that got the track dadoed for the top, now it's time to mount these tracks in. So running my bead of liquid nail, and mounting it to the top. Make sure nice and flush. Then going to C-clamp it. And make sure you stay aligned, and that way your doors will slide back and forth freely. And now just gotta drill and then run my screws into it. Make sure you're using the right screws. You don't want them to jump down into the groove of the track. You just dadoed out, so I have the right screws. They're just 1 inch. So I'll get that going, and then top and bottom tracks will be mounted.
I jumped.
Alright, now for doing the acrylic doors, had to cut them down in length and now cutting down in height. That way they fit nice and pretty in. I'm just using an acrylic bit in the Dremel. Got a straight edge. That way it could run right on the straight edge. You'll get a nice, good, straight, clean cut. And this is one door's done. This is the last door. So here we are. Alright, now that that's done, just unclamp, clean up the edges, and we'll be able to set it in, and I'll get that video here in a second. Right, so, got the acrylic doors in, and as you can see, runs pretty nice on the track that we dadoed and made. A way cheaper way than buying the track, because it gets expensive. We bought the track and had to even order it. And then for the acrylic, we got a place called Port Plastics, and they sell their scrap by the pound. So you could get some odd, weird sizes, different thicknesses there for a good price, $1 per pound. So hence why you see one with still the blue paper on, one white. It's just different scraps. And it works out on saving money for this. So now just take these back out. We'll be caulking all the seams on the inside, getting all of that caulked, and then get all the edges painted white. So it's almost there. It didn't take too long, and the day is still early, and if we had the money we could build like 10 of these in a short period of time. But this is just the build for a 4-footer, and soon be getting a chance to start building the 8-foot cages and show you how I do those. It's kind of the same process, just a little bit bigger and a center support. But we'll get on to that video when get around to building some of the 8-foot cages. Alright, now doors are on. It's all sealed and caulked, and the only thing left to do is drill some vent holes and drill a hole for the probe to come through. But all in all, it's all done. Just also lever for the doors to pull open, but pretty much all done. Went quick, so it's an easy way to build a cage and cost effective. Really didn't cost but $50 to do. So if you're looking to build some of these 8-footers, this is the way to do it. And cheap, you can build a lot. So that's the whole thing done, completed, besides drilling a couple holes. But hope you enjoyed the video and want to see your guys' cage builds. And if you follow what I've done, I'm very interested in. Alright, have a good day.